All right, guys, let's give it another minute or so to see who else comes on, and then we'll get started. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining in today. Today, we're going to be going through some of the features in Quick Search. Those of you who have been around for a little while probably are used to using full search and may not be utilizing Quick Search. Hopefully, everyone is aware that in November, the full search is being sunset, so you will have to use Quick Search going forward. So we're going to go through some of those features and just kind of how to use it to the best of everyone's abilities. And then we're also going to go through the new Monsoon Tax software. Hopefully everyone saw the Flex tip that came out yesterday. We're going to go through how to use that. It functions in a very similar way to how you do searches in Quick Search. So that's where we're going to start off. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen here.
Hey, Jared, could you quickly just tell us why you are switching from
the ability to share my screen? Do you know, does anyone know who is set to host? Okay, let me try to get a hold
It might be Mandy.
of Mandy here. Give me 1 second. Okay, I just sent her an email, so we'll see what happens here. So since I can't share right now, does anybody have any specific questions that you need answered while we wait to see if I can share my screen? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question, or if you're more comfortable, go ahead and put it in the group chat. I do have that open as well.
Jared, I do have a question. Why, just out of curiosity, why are you not supporting full search any longer?
Okay, I did just see Keller Williams Milwaukee come on, so hopefully they're changing the settings here. There we go. Okay. So we are up and running. So let me just get to my screen here. So can everyone see on my screen the quick search in Flex MLS? Give me a head nod or a thumbs up so make sure it's sharing right. Okay, thank you. Again, I will have my chat open during this time period. So if you do have questions, feel free to add those in. Otherwise, feel free to unmute yourself and ask as well, whatever you're more comfortable with. Why is full search being canceled? Good question. So basically, when it comes to the full search, we've been with FBS, the company that makes the Flex MLS software, pretty much since the beginning. They realized as time went on that it's not mobile friendly. Which back then people really weren't focused on mobile devices, so they came out with the quick search feature, which you can still search everything that you need to search. All the fields are available still. It's just in a little bit of a different format. So probably 6 or 7 years ago, they actually stopped incorporating full search into the new accounts. So when a new MLS came on board, they didn't even have the full search option. So it's been kind of behind on getting updated, and they really don't want to put the money into it since there are very few MLSs in the country using the full search option or even have the ability to do full search. Personally, I feel that quick search can do so much more for you guys. I'm a former agent, and back when I was selling, I primarily used full search. Now that I'm on the MLS side of things, I primarily use quick search unless someone has a specific question when it comes to full search. I just feel like it can do so much more in much more of a timely fashion. Yep, so we are going to be going through Monsoon as well. But again, we are going to start off with a quick search tutorial, just because the technology works in a very similar fashion. So I just want to do a quick side-by-side comparison for you, for those who are kind of used to full search. So in full search, all right, I've got a little drop-down box. It needs to go away. There we go. In full search, everything that's on this main fields tab, you're going to actually find it when you go into quick search. It's going to be in this vertical menu tree here for you. And anything that you wanted to add from any of these different tabs or subcategories, those you actually can come right down to the bottom here where it says add a field to the search. And what I really like about this is if you're working with a customer that's looking for very specific features that you may not normally work with, instead of having to go tab to subfolder trying to figure out where that field actually is, you can just click right into this add a field to the search, and then it brings up all the available fields for you. But let's say you're looking for a hobby farm. I can just start typing in hobby, and it's going to bring up all my options for me. So if I want a specific type of hobby farm, or if I'm just looking for a hobby farm in general, I can go in here and start clicking in what I'm actually looking for. So let's say they wanted to be able to have a horse. So if I just click on horse, you can see it adds it to the field on the left-hand side here for me. If they wanted other livestock, I could click on livestock, and it just kind of keeps adding these fields in for me as I go. And then if I want to add another field, I could go ahead and click in there and start typing in, again, whatever I wanted to. Let's say they have accessibility issues. I can just type in accessibility, and then it gives me all the options for accessibility. And I can just go ahead again, click on those, add them into my search. And then just like in full search, once I have my criteria, I can go ahead and view my results, and then I can save it. I could set up as a subscription email for my customers. The important thing to keep in mind too is when the conversion goes through and full search goes away, you don't have to redo your searches. It's going to remember all of those because basically it doesn't matter if you started off in a full search or a quick search. It's behind the scenes. It knows what criteria you have saved into those searches. So it'll just keep going forward. You won't even notice any difference with that other than you'll have to come in and do quick search. Okay. There are other several features that I really want to go through. I'm going to go ahead and just click on quick search again just to make sure I get rid of all of my criteria here. So on the bottom, on this toolbar, there's a couple of useful features. The first is the hand that just allows me to click into my map and kind of drag my map around a little bit. The next one actually is our zoom in. So if I click on that and go over to a specific area and click, it just kind of clicks down for me. I'm going to go down to a point where I actually can start seeing properties here. So our next feature is parcel information. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that one. It's the little blue circle with the white eye. And if I actually click on a certain parcel, it's going to give me the lot dimensions for that property. It'll bring up the photo from the last time it was listed in the MLS. It'll give me a link to the tax key number directly to Monsoon. If the acreage is available in the system, it's going to give me that as well. And then anything under listing activity, so if the property had sold or expired or was withdrawn, any of those things, you actually see a record of those with the MLS numbers, and it will have a link actually directly to that MLS sheet. Okay. The next one is a measuring tool. This is really useful for people who are doing like broker price opinions that may need to state how far from a certain landmark or whatever this property is, or if there's a school or a park that you want to promote. Why call it Monsoon? I will get to that. If you have to do like measurements of things, if you go, I'm just going to back out just a little bit. So actually Rufus King is right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on my measuring tool. I'm going to click on my first spot, take my finger off the mouse button, drag it to my next spot. I'm going to click on it. And you can see it's got two measurements for me. It has the segment, which is just that last piece of straight line that I drew. And then it has the total. So the total will keep going up as I continue to go around. So I'm just gonna go up here. You can see how that changes. I'm gonna click and just bring it over. So if I wanted to advertise that this property is just over 2,000 feet from Rufus King, it's an easy way to measure. Okay, the next things we have here are our drawing shapes. So we have our rectangle. So a rectangle, I'm going to click, take my finger off the mouse, drag it out. That allows me to draw a rectangle. So anything within this area, this is going to be my search area. So if you have a customer that wants a specific neighborhood or a specific area within a community, you can kind of draw those shapes out. The next one we have is the circle, just like the rectangle. This one's just going to draw a circle. I'm going to click my starting point and start bringing it out. And you can see as I do that, on the right-hand side there, it actually shows how far out I'm going. When I'm happy with my shape, I'm just going to click to tell it that's done. You can see on the left-hand side here under my menu tree, it says shapes, and then it has what shapes I've drawn. The shape I find most useful is this Polygon tool. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on my quick search again, just to clear out all of my criteria. I'm going to go back into this Milwaukee area. There are some great features in the Milwaukee area especially. These do work elsewhere within our coverage area. But you may have a customer that wants a specific neighborhood And if the listing agent hasn't included that information into their listing, you can't really search on it. But what's great is if I go over to this overlays in my upper right-hand corner, I'm gonna go ahead and click on that. And then from here, we're under MLS, it does have some overlays that will go onto your map. They're not usable for searching, but it will kind of define the different areas for you. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on this neighborhood map onyx. So you can see now I've got all these different neighborhoods in the Milwaukee area that I actually can use this Polygon tool to basically trace over the boundaries of, and then I can save those for my customer. I actually can save them to use later on. So we're gonna walk through right now how to actually create an overlay, save it, and then go back in and use it later on. So I have most of this area done. So I'm just gonna go up here. We'll work in this area just because I haven't done anything in this area yet. So you can see the white lines, those are our boundaries of those different areas. And then it also has the name of the neighborhood. So let's just go over here and we'll do these two right here. So on my bottom toolbar again, I'm gonna go ahead and just click on my draw polygon for searching. I'm gonna click on my first spot on my map. I'm gonna take my finger off the mouse button and drag my mouse up to my next point. At that point, I'm just gonna single click, drag my mouse to the next location with my finger off the button, click, and I'm gonna go down to my final location and click. At the end, I'm gonna double click. That lets the system know that I am done drawing that shape. So now I've got this shape drawn, and you can see on the left-hand side where it says shape, and it says polygon. If I'm drawing multiple shapes, I'm probably gonna wanna rename these, especially if I'm gonna use them later on. That way I know exactly what I'm looking at. So I'm just gonna go ahead and click inside of my shape here. I get this little pop-up box, and I'm gonna go to edit. I can change the color if I want to. I'm just gonna make it hot pink. And up here, I'm gonna change the name. And since this is Lindsay Park, I'm just gonna name it Lindsay Park. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and see the left-hand side here where it said shape polygon before. Now it says shape Lindsay Park. And when I highlight over it, it does turn yellow to show me which shape that is. So if I didn't want to, want the shape, I could just click that off. So a question just came in: why are this not available to everyone instead of each of us having to create the area? That is a good question. I don't have an answer for you. My best guess is if the responsibility is on the agent, just in case one of these lines gets a little off and a property is excluded. So I think that they just had the onus on the agent for that. So in this pop-up, now that I'm done with it, I'm just gonna go ahead and just click this close pop-up. And now I'm gonna wanna do this Arlington Gardens as well. And I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna screw up this shape as I draw it so I can show you how to go in and actually adjust these shapes. So I'm gonna click on my polygon tool again. I'm gonna click on my first spot. And I'm just gonna start clicking around. So again, make sure you take your finger off the mouse button as you're dragging it. Also make sure, hopefully everyone has seen the movie Ghostbusters. The one rule with the proton packs was you don't cross the streams. If you cross the streams while you're drawing your shape, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And then I'm gonna double click. You'll see this little pop-up here saying that's not a valid shape. So be careful when you're drawing your shapes out that you don't cross your lines. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do that again real quick. Yeah, I'm gonna mess this one up just a little bit so I can go ahead and adjust it. When I'm done, I'm gonna double click to tell the system that it's done. And you'll see on the left-hand side, so it says shapes, Lindsay Park, and then polygon, since I haven't gone in and updated the name for Arlington Gardens yet. You can see I did go over into Lindsay Park here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just click inside of my shape to get my pop-up balloon back. Click on edit. And then from here, I'm gonna rename it right away so I don't forget to do that. I'm gonna make that one green. And then within this box, I can click on edit shape. So once I click on edit shape, you'll see it actually puts these little orange circles on my map here for me on my shape. All I have to do to adjust it is go ahead and click and hold on that orange dot and just slide my line over to where I want it to be. I'm just gonna click and hold, drag it up to where I want it to be. When I'm happy with that, bottom right-hand corner, leave edit shape mode. Now you can see on the left-hand side, I do have Lindsay Park. and Arlington Gardens as my 2 different overlays that I've created. The thing you want to keep in mind when you're creating overlays to reuse later on is if I were to save Lindsay Park as its own overlay and I were to save Arlington Gardens as its own overlay, I can't use 2 overlay files at the same time. However, if I save them under one overlay file, I can go in and pick out which neighborhoods I want to from that file. So basically what we're going to do is go ahead and save this, and then I'll show you how we can go in and reuse them. The other nice thing is you don't have to create all these shapes at once. So you'll see just how many, how big my file is for my Milwaukee area neighborhoods. These all weren't created at, at one sit down. They literally have been created piece by piece by piece so that I can just kind of keep adding those in as time goes on. The one I find really useful when you're doing this is if someone is requesting Bayview. Bayview is kind of a hot area right now. If you were to go in and search the postal municipality of Bayview, I haven't done it this week, but last week I got 0 results because people are selecting Milwaukee for their postal municipality, not Bayview. So if you have a customer that actually wants Bayview, you can go in, draw the shape around Bayview, save it, and then use that when you're doing your searching, and then you'll get like all the results because it's literally looking just at the physical area that you've defined by creating these overlays. So in order to save this, I'm just going to go ahead and just click right on top of one of my overlays. It doesn't matter which one. So I get this little pop-up box back. I'm going to go back to Edit and then Save to Map Overlays. So once I click Save to Map Overlays, it asks me, do I want to create a new overlay? So if I was just starting out, I would just go ahead, new overlay, give it a name. However, I want to add this to my Milwaukee area neighborhoods one. So I'm just going to put a little checkbox in, add to existing overlays. Go down and find my Milwaukee area neighborhoods one. Put a click in there. And you'll see under polygons, everything that I've drawn out, it has on here for me. It's only going to have a checkbox in the one that I clicked into in order to do the save. So if I didn't want to save Lindsay Park as well, all I have to do is put a little checkbox in Lindsay Park as well. So I have both of them selected, and I'm going to click on Save. So you can see it says Saving Overlays. Overlay has been saved. So now we're going to go in and actually show you how to utilize these overlays. So I'm just going to go back to Quick Search again, just to kind of clear out my search criteria. So I want to go in and actually add some of these back in for my searching. I can go where it has MLS number, address, or map overlay on the left-hand side here, right under the property type. I'm going to click in there. It does order them by the alphabet as far as the file name goes. However, as of now, and this is something they're going to be working on, you'll be able to scroll down. But I know this is my Milwaukee area neighborhoods, so I'm just going to type in what I'm looking for. That's my Milwaukee. And you can see here, Milwaukee area neighborhoods has all of my files here. Part of my screen is being cut off. At the very bottom, click to see all these locations. So it's going to, because right now I've got about 110 or so. So I'm going to just click on that. And it's going to bring up all these different neighborhoods that I've drawn up already. So let's say you do want to search Bayview. Let's just see how many results we actually get for Bayview. I'm going to go ahead and click on Bayview. And if I just want the one, I can just double click or hit enter. Or if I want to select multiples without having to keep going back, I can, if I'm using a PC, I can just use my, my control key and select multiples. So let's say we also want Avenues West. We'll do the Arlington Heights we just created, Arlington Gardens. If you're using a Mac, it's your command key you would hold down to do that. So when I'm happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and just hit enter. Now on the left-hand side, instead of saying shapes, it actually gives me my file name. So Milwaukee area neighborhoods. And it's got each of the ones that I selected in here. Okay, so I can see my different areas. I'm going to go ahead and just click off these. I just want to leave Bayview for now, just so we can actually see how many are available currently in Bayview. So if I go and just click that little X, you can see they disappear for me. And then I'm left with just Bayview, and I've got 18 results. Just for fun, let's go ahead and actually do a search for Bayview and just see how many results we get. So you can see right now, by searching postal municipality of Bayview, I have 0 results. However, there are 18 properties currently for sale in Bayview. So that's a great little way of actually making sure that you're getting all of your results. Any questions on that before I show you some other things that it can do? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just click on my quick search again just to get rid of my criteria. So in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, there's this little red stick pin icon. So it's a little red stick pin in a white circle. And as I hover over it, you can see it says locate address. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my locate address. I'm going to get this box pop up for me. And the addresses that they're using are actually from tax data. So even if the property hasn't sold before, you're still going to be able to find all the properties that you're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and just put in an address. This is my office here in Wauwatosa. So I've got my address, my municipality, my state. As long as I have my municipality and state filled in, I don't have to add in my zip code. So a little bit of a time saver. I'm going to click on locate. So it does put this little red stick pin directly on top of my property for me. So let's say you are working with a customer that wants to be within a certain distance of their work or wherever. What I would do is I'd go to the stick pin. For my pop-up box, I've got radius search here. So I'm just going to click on radius search. The default is 1 mile, but you can do whatever distance you want. So you could, if you only wanted a quarter mile, you could put in 0.25. For our example here, I'm just going to put in 5 miles, and I'm going to create my radius. So you can see anything within this circle is going to be within 5 miles of this property here. This also can be really useful if you're doing a CMA and you want to see what properties are super close to that. Maybe you only want to do an area of 1 mile or 2 miles. For your CMA, make sure that those comps are as close to your subject property as possible. So what I find really useful with this, and actually I was working with an agent out in Oconomowoc last year, and she had a doctor that actually was splitting their time between 2 hospitals, and he wanted to be within 10 miles of each of the hospitals. So this actually will allow you to determine what houses are going to work for them between those different areas. So I'm going to go ahead and add in a second location. I'm going to go back and click on my locate address. I'm going to use actually my church. Again, as long as I have the municipality and state abbreviation put in, I don't have to do my zip code. I'm going to click on locate again. And from my pop-up box, I'm going to do my radius search. Let's say you close this out or you do your radius search and you don't get as many results as you want to, or you're getting too many. To get this box back, all you have to do is click right back on top of the stick pin, and then you get your pop-up box back. So I'm going to click on my radius search. I'm going to do another 5 miles from here and create radius. So right now, I don't have any other criterion as far as bedrooms, bathrooms, price, any of that. You can definitely go in and add whatever criteria you wanted to. So right now, I've got my 2 circles. The bottom one is going to work for the 5 miles from this point. This top one's going to work for 5 miles from this point. However, the only thing that's going to work for both locations is what's intersecting right here. And actually, the system will do this for you. So on the left-hand side where we have shapes, again, if I hover over the circles, they turn yellow to show me which ones they are. The default is within. So I'm going to go ahead and click on within and change it to intersection. The system's going to think for a couple seconds here, and then reduce my results down to 230. In a second here, my outside ones will go away. And you can see these properties, these 230 properties, are going to work for those distances from both locations. Okay, so that can be a useful tool for you. Okay, any questions on that? Okay. So now we're going to get into Monsoon. I did have a couple of questions coming in. Why is it called Monsoon? That is a very good question. The answer to that one is, so the Monsoon software actually is, we got it from the Arizona Regional MLS. About a year and a half, 2 years ago now, we entered into a joint venture with them and we created a company called Market that allows us to kind of share intellectual property back and forth. And this is actually a tax software that they created. So they actually named it Monsoon. And the great thing about it is it does incorporate our local data now. Wire data is still going to be there to use. So if you're more comfortable using wire data, you feel free to continue to do so. The features in Monsoon are very similar to the quick search that we just went through, what I really like about Monsoon, and we'll go through this in the demo, is that if you're trying to do a farm area right now in wire data, you have to have basically the street ranges and, you know, kind of do all that. In Monsoon, you actually have those drawing shapes. So if I know the area that I want to do my marketing to, I actually can go and draw out those shapes and extract that tax information right away. I'm gonna go ahead and click on my view results just so I can show you how it looks in the system, and then we will actually go to the full Monsoon platform. Got a lot of results, so it's just gonna take a few seconds here. So when I'm actually in my listings here and I wanna look at the tax data, I'm just gonna go ahead and click on my detail at the top here. And you can see next to tax info now, the Monsoon button has been added. So if I click on Monsoon, it's gonna give me my Monsoon sheet. It's a little bit different looking than the wire data sheet, but it still has all the same information. It actually has more information. So you'll notice it actually does give me a map. So I actually can see directly, you know, on the map. I can go ahead and click on parcel dimensions, and it's gonna give me the lot size for that property, all the dimensions there. And I can download that map if I want to. So I could download it, print it. At the top here, it also gives me report a tax error. So let's say I'm going through this and I see incorrect information. Instead of having to call in, you literally can just go ahead and click on report a tax error. It's gonna give me this sheet. It's gonna fill in all the property address for me. And I can go ahead and just type in what the error is, send report, and it automatically goes to the programmers to adjust. So we also have on here the property information. So it's got the owner's name, property address, taxi mailing address. Over here under area information, this has some really cool features built in, especially if you have a customer that may not be familiar with certain areas. There's this little demographics button up here. So if I click on demographics, it's going to open it up in a new window for me. And it's going to give me what the estimated population is, the median age, number of households in that area. Gives me some charts and graphs here. Gives me gender information, marital status information, how many houses are rented versus owned versus vacant. Gives me kind of a breakdown of what the rents are. What's really important on here is the quality of life. So if you have a customer that's asking you, about specific areas, this quality of life here really can be a useful tool for them. But as I go down to the bottom here, it gives me places to eat and drink, which I think is phenomenal, especially if you have got new customers coming to an area that they may not be super familiar with. You can give them this, and it actually gives them the name of the place, the address, how far it is from the subject property, and then what type of places it is. What is it? So we have lodging, restaurant, bar, meal delivery, all those kinds of things on here. Okay. So I'm just gonna go back to my report. And as I go down, it's got my land areas. So this is where I'm gonna find my acreage. It also gives me the square footage of the lot. Gives me all my structure information. Gives me the deed history. If there was a loan on the property, it'll give me loan history. Gives me the assessment data, just like we saw in Flex. It also gives me kind of a little graph of what that was doing over the years. Tax history, just like we see in Flex. And on the bottom here, it does give me flood zone information. So if the property is in a flood zone, it'll say a flood zone, and then actually will, I can click on this to go directly to a flood zone map. Okay. So from here, if I actually wanted to find comparables for this property, I can click on comparables, and it actually is going to basically do a search for me that will give me the comps. But I'm going to go ahead and launch Monsoon. I'm going to click on my Launch Monsoon button. It's going to open up Monsoon itself. So to get to the homepage, if you actually just wanted to go to Monsoon directly, you've got a couple of options. One, it's met.mymonsoon.com. Otherwise, I actually have it tagged my bar right here. So if you wanted to add it to your search bar at the top here, I click on menu, I can go down to taxes, put my star in Monsoon, and then it'll be on your toolbar for you. So I'm just gonna click on Monsoon just to go to the home screen here. It's a lot simpler of a search process. So there's basically 3 different ways you can search using Monsoon. The first is at the top here where it says owner, address, MLS number, or tax key. This works just like the quick launch bar does inside of Flex MLS. So I'm gonna go ahead and just click inside this box. I'm just gonna use my home address here. and I'm going to click on search. And then you can see it actually gives me my that sheet that basically we just looked at. At the end, I'm actually going to show you how you can customize these reports. So there's information on here that you don't want to, maybe to give out to your customer, like the loan history or whatever. You actually can turn those off. You also can customize them with different colors. Again, I have my comp tool here, so if I wanted to go ahead and comp out this property, I could do that. If I put in an owner's name, and part of their name also is part of a street address, instead of just going directly to the tax sheet, it'll give you your options that you can select. We click on Monsoon just to go back. So tax search. What's great about this is I can add my counties in on the fly. Unlike in wire data right now, where it limits you to select up to 4 counties. With this, I can select up to 10 counties just by typing them in. And I can also save them. So if I'm primarily using that county, I can go ahead and save that information so I don't have to go back in every single time and select my county. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on county. And I'm just going to do Milwaukee. Then from here, I do have the option to add municipalities. I click inside my box, I do get this drop down here. So let's just go ahead and we'll add in Shorewood, we'll add in West Milwaukee, or if I wanted to search the entire county, I just put a little checkbox in this, search all municipalities in this county, and it'll search all of them. If I want to add another county, I do have this add another county box. I'm just going to click on that. It basically gives me another county that I can select. Let's say I just want to use this for now. If I click on save selection, the great thing about this is no matter what tab I go to, it's going to remember that I want Milwaukee, Shorewood, West Milwaukee, and the village of, I forget what I selected. And anytime I come back to use Monsoon, it's going to remember that this is the area I want to search in. So if I want to search a different area, I can just go ahead and click on this reset counties, and then it'll take me back to that previous screen. But from here, I can enter in whatever information I want to search on. So if you were looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in any of these municipalities, you can enter in that information and do mailers. Gives me a lot of options here. What's great is on the bottom here, add, modify, reorder fields. If I click on that, it's going to give me all of my options that I can search on. And when I actually click on one of the options, let's just say owner city. Once I have added that, if I click on save, it's going to automatically appear for me in my menu tree every time I come back for it. So if there's a field I'm constantly searching on, I can add that in and always have it here. The important thing to remember when you're doing searches using Monsoon is anytime you add information, you're going to want to click on that search button. Unlike in Flex, where you type in a criteria and it automatically updates for you with your results, this will not do that. It'll only update once you actually click on search. Okay. So let's see. Let's go ahead and do, just look for homes that were sold. Let me go a different route, sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and click on map within this. So this actually allows me to draw out those different areas. So let's go through the scenario where you actually want to send out mailers. Maybe you have a new home that was just listed in that area. You're looking for a home in that area. I'm gonna go ahead and go to Grafton here. Use Grafton a lot because that's where I live. So this is the neighborhood I live in. So let's say I want to do a mailer to this area. At the top of our map here, we do have the hand that allows you to kind of move the map around, circle and the rectangle, just like we had in the quick search. And then we also have the Polygon tool, which is just draw a shape. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my draw a shape. I'm going to click my first spot, take my finger off the mouse, just like we did in quick search. Drag my mouse up to where I want it to be. Click, take my finger off the mouse, drag it over, click, drag it over, click. I'm just gonna keep going around. And then when I'm done with my drawing, I'm going to take it right back to my starting point and click to complete my shape. You can see on the left-hand side, it says map search, and it has that polygon name. Again, I don't have any results yet because I need to go in and add and click on the search button. So I'm gonna click on my search button. and it's going to populate all that tax data from that area for me. As I scroll down, these kind of start breaking apart a little bit more for me. So if I want to go in and actually see this tax data for this area, at the top here where it says map, I can go ahead and click on cards, and the card is basically going to bring up these little boxes for me. It gives me some information about the property. If the picture is available, it's going to put that picture right in here for me as well. It gives me the tax key, so I can go ahead and click right on that to go to the tax key. We also have rows right next to cards. This is just a little bit of a different layout for you. So it'll have your year built if it's available, the lot size, the square footage if it's available. And then again, it's got, sold price and a link directly to the tax information. So let's say I go through all this and I want to print out my labels or save this for later use. I can go ahead and put little check boxes in here to select the ones I want. I can select an entire page by using this select page. And now you can see it has 30 selected. If I want to go ahead and save all of them, I'm going to leave that box unchecked. So I'm going to go ahead on the left-hand side here where it says save. I'm just going to click on save. Save search as. I'm just going to call this draft and test. I've done a couple of these, so I'm just going to call it 5. And then click on save. So the great thing is on the left-hand side here under saved, I can go back in at any point in time and go ahead and click on my search, and it's going to update that information for me. So if the property's sold, it's going to pull in the new person's information as far as their name goes. If I want to go ahead and actually do mailing labels, I've got a couple of options. The first is if I click on export, it's going to basically put every piece of information into this export, which could make for a really messy spreadsheet. Not yet, Tracy, and I will answer that question for everyone in a second here. So what I actually prefer if you're doing labels, just go ahead and click on labels. So from here, you just put in your label type. If you want to use the property address or the mailing address for the property, if you want to include current resident on that, and then go ahead and click on print at the top, and it's going to basically print a PDF for us. The question was asked, can you send tax box info to clients through subscriptions? The answer actually right now is no. So inside of Flex MLS, it does not allow you to actually use this, the Monsoon sheet. It always going to allow you to use wire data that is being adjusted. We're also going to be having the ability to email directly from Monsoon. That's just not here yet. But what you can do, so once I have my print box pop up, under destination, I can go ahead and save it as a PDF. So I can save it whatever file I want to, and then add that into an email. I also can just write down here, create PDF file, and basically do the same thing. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my home screen here. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this next part. MLS search, so I'm gonna go ahead and click on my MLS search. Functions the exact same way as the tax search did, but in here you actually can search, for those, bedrooms and bathrooms. So this actually this is live data inside of Flex MLS, so it's going to show you solds and all that stuff. Okay, so that's pretty much all I'm going to say about this part of it. The last thing I want to show you in here, actually, if I go back out to the home page, is this preferences. This is where you really can customize how these reports look and feel for you. So when I click on preferences, it does give me the option to change the color scheme. So the default is Monsoon Blue, but I could do Jet Green, Hot Pink, Red Rose, Orange Juice, Purple Rain, whatever color you want. And I can also adjust the information on my report here for me. So let's say I did not want to have notice history. I can just go ahead and put a hide in there, and then that will not appear in my report. Let's say I wanted to have the tax history at the top. I can click and hold, drag that up to the top. When I'm happy with everything, I can save my layout. You can always go back and reset it at any point in time. I'll make this a screen. I'm going to save my theme. Just keep in mind that anything you hide in here, it's going to be hidden on all of your reports. So just be mindful of that. If a customer wants a certain information, you're gonna have to go back into preferences and adjust that back. Okay, the last thing on the Monsoon screen is training. So when I click on training, right now it actually takes you to the Monsoon Facebook page. We are working on customized videos for this. So once those are ready, that training option will take you directly to our training videos. That is pretty much everything that I have prepared for you today. Any questions on this or anything else? Again, feel free to use the chat or feel free to unmute yourself. Looks like Tracy may be typing. Do you have a question, Tracy?
No, I'm okay. I'm completely new.
I can't
so
hear
I'm
you for some reason.
Oh, I'm.
Yeah, Tracy.
Can you hear me now?
I'm having problems hearing you.
Okay. Now? I'm new to MLS.
Oh, welcome. Sorry, I had my volume, my speakers on the wrong speaker.
I'm new to the whole thing. Okay,
sorry,
so
Tracy,
I'm completely.
You were breaking up.
Okay, so no, I'm just new. So I just went on some tutorials this morning
Okay.
to figure out the whole MLS thing. So I think I'll just continue to do that. And this information it was perfect. So thank you.
Yeah, and when we're not in the middle of a pandemic, we do have live classes at our office.
Okay.
Once those return, I would encourage you to come and take some of those.
Okay.
So on our homepage here, which is themetromls.com, you've already found the videos, but we do have this upcoming class schedule. And if I click on that, it's going to give me all of the learning options. Right now, everything basically is over the internet. But we do have live classes Tuesdays through Thursdays. And then we typically, when we're not in a pandemic, on Mondays, we do have open labs from 10 to 12 that agents can come in and get help setting up a search, setting up a contact, all those kinds of things. Okay, Sharon, what specifically, what about the tax training? Are you talking about like in classes that we're going to be having?
What I want to know, this is Sharon, what I want to know is how is Monsoon connected to the tax training, or is it connected, or is it separate? Because I'm new to that concept.
Okay, yeah, so basically all the data that you would find in wire data, that all comes through. We get the tax information yearly for the properties. We get the sold data kind of on a monthly basis. So all that information on the back end, it goes to the wire data tax software, and it also goes to Monsoon. So all the tax information that we get will appear in both places exactly the same. It's just a different matter of how you do the searching. So I really prefer the Monsoon. I feel like it's a lot cleaner and easier to use. I'm gonna go ahead and just open up tax info just in case people haven't seen it. So this basically is wire data. It has not really changed in its look or functionality in a long time. So it's a little bit more cumbersome, whereas the Monsoon is just, I think, a little bit more intuitive since it does work very similarly to Flex.
Okay, for example, I have a vacant lot, and it's part of a 13-acre parcel. They're taking 5 and selling 5. However, the village that it is located in doesn't do an update till December. So when people want to see the tax record for it, it's not going to show up because it has a different tax record than the parent property. So I had to call you guys, and we figured out what we needed to do, but that was a complicated situation for me, and I didn't know how to do it, but Dorothy helped me through it. So
yeah, Dorothy and her staff are great over there. Like you said, we only get the updated records, for the new parcels and the tax data once a year, kind of coinciding with tax season once the taxes actually come out. So situations like that, let us know, and Dorothy and her team can dig into that.
Yeah, here's the irony of that whole situation. I had this listing 6 months. It just expired in May. So in 2019, I had a tax record. I had a new number, okay, for just the vacant property, the 5 acres. It should have really been addressed in 2019, December 2019. It wasn't. So now it's carried over into 2020. So I don't know if it's the village's problem that did that. I don't know how, how that happened, but
Yeah,
I
unless it
already,
was,
I
unless
already
it
have
was
the new tax number. It's really crazy.
a timing thing, when they sent over the files prior to it getting a tax ID number, that I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else for the good of the cause? All right, well, thanks for joining in today. Hope you guys learned at least one or two things along the way to help you guys out. And we are here Monday through Fridays from 8 to 5. Office is open, so if we can be of help, definitely give us a call or send us an email.
So when do you think you're going to open up physically that we can come in?
We're working on it. We're right now, we actually installed a sneeze cough guard at the reception area so that those employees can maintain that distance. We've ordered automatic hand sanitizing stations. So those will be here in a few weeks. As you can imagine, everything's backlogged right now with getting those types of equipment. So those will go in, and then we have to figure out how we're gonna do the training room in order to make sure that everyone can be safe in there. So once all those objectives are met, at that point, we should be back open. So hopefully it won't be too much longer. We just want to make sure everyone's safe. So that is everything. So thank you guys again for coming. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks. Have a good day. Bye.
You too. Thanks. Bye.